All right, folks, if you're still with me so far, you're doing fantastic. One last thing we'd like to do, now that we've got our code that does one complete trial of the Cereal Box sports card simulation, what we'd like to do is we'd like to have the computer run multiple trials, because I'm so lazy. Not only do I not want to run one trial, I don't want to have to press the button to say run another trial, run another trial, run another trial. Also, there's some other benefits to having the computer run multiple trials. Like, for instance, the computer could find the average number of cereal boxes if we did that. So let's go ahead and let's add some code here. I'm going to go ahead and hit the Enter key so that I move all my code down one line. And I'm going to put in a for loop. So for x in range. And then we'll go from 1 to, let's do 10 initially. And I'll end that line with a colon. Now, in order for this for to create a loop, I need to have some code that's indented underneath the for statement. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight all of my code because I want this entire while loop. I want all of that to be doing over and over again. So now that it's all highlighted, I'll hit the Tab key. And so now it's all indented. And so now it should repeat multiple times. Now, in order for you to see the results, I'm going to stop printing the sports card. I'm going to get rid of that by putting in a hashtag. So it will no longer print sports card. I'm going to stop printing LeBron. I'm going to stop printing Dustin. Oops, excuse me. I'm going to stop printing Dustin by putting a hashtag there. I'm going to stop printing Serena. And by eliminating all these print statements, what will happen is all I'm going to see, and I'll get rid of printing the complete. All I'm going to see now is count and the number. And I really don't even need count, but I'll do it initially. I'm going to go ahead and hit run. And I'm going to go ahead and hit run again. All right, something is wrong. I'm expecting this to go 10 times. For x in range 1, 10 should make this thing go or repeat over and over again. Let's see, why am I having a problem? I think part of the reason I'm having a problem is I think every time I need to restart this simulation, I need to reset all of these guys. I'm going to go ahead and move the for statement up to the top. Either that or I'm going to move these guys down below. I think the easiest is to move this up. So I'm going to do Control X. On a Mac, you'll do Command X. And then I'll put this above all of these guys, not the import statement, but above all these variables. And I'll do Control V. On a Mac, you'll do Command V. And then I'll go ahead and indent all of these lines of code, including the not done. We'll hit Tab. And now I think it'll work better. Let me go ahead and hit run and see what happens. Yay! It looks like it's running multiple times. Now, it should be running, I think, 9 times. I think if I want it to run it 10 times, I have to put an 11 here. Let's go ahead and put run there. So I believe that is 11 times, 11 trials of this sports card cereal box simulation. So this is great. This means that I can have the computer run many, many trials of the simulation, and I can get a better feel for how I'll get a better feel for how many boxes of cereal on average one must buy in order to get a complete set of cards. This situation, this program, is obviously just a metaphor for many types of other simulations that we might want to conduct. Okay, so anyways, let me go ahead and I'm just cleaning things up, just getting rid of some space so that I can see more of my code. Let's see here. What we want to do now is we want to, I'd like to be able to, well, it'd be real easy to make it do many, many more trials. All I have to do is change this one number here, this 11. I could make that into a much larger number and it'll just do a lot more trials. But let's get rid of the count equals because that's just slowing us down. And the other thing is I would like to I would like to keep a running total of all the trials and the counts, and in the end and then I'll divide by the number of trials. So let's do a total variable, and the total variable needs to be at the very top because it needs to occur before I do any of the trials. So we'll do total equals 0 to start. And then what we'll do is after we get our first count, not inside this loop, not right here. I don't want it indented, but let's see here. After we're done with this while loop, so I'm gonna go backspace, backspace, backspace. That indentation level is right where the while loop is. So after the while loop is done, oops, I'm a little bit off. I got to go tab 1 forward. This line here shows me where the while loop goes until it ends. And at this point, I'm going to go ahead and set total equal to total plus count. And what that'll do is it'll take the previous count and add it to the new count, and that'll keep the running total going. Actually, I'm sorry. It'll take the previous total and add it to the new count. And the previous total is made up of all the previous counts. That's how that's going to work. And it's really important that we start off with total equals 0 at the top. Okay, with this idea in mind, I think we're going to have a total and a running total. And then the last thing, let me think about this. I'm going to pause this for just a sec. I might want this indented a little bit more. Let me think just for a sec. All right. I think the total is in the correct place. I think it's indented properly because I want that total to keep totaling inside this for loop, and that means it must not be at the same indent level as the for loop. It must be one in. So it can't be here, it's got to be here. And if we look, that total is just indented once. That's perfect. Now, after we leave the for loop, on the next line, I'm going to unindent. And now what we'll do is we'll go ahead and calculate the average and print it out. So the average will be equal to the total divided by the number of trials. Now, how do we know what the number of trials is? Well, we don't have an obvious way. Right now, the number of trials is based on this guy right here. The 11, in which actually tells us there's going to be 10 trials, strangely. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a new variable. I'm going to call this max trials and use camel case, and we'll set it equal to whatever the number is. Let's set it to 11. And then I'm going to change this guy to max trials. And then I'll go way down here, and when we go to calculate the average, I'll say the average is equal to the total divided by max trials. Now, that should work. Now, I have to say something to you, maybe a few things. One thing is that I really dislike the idea of just running code and having it spit out an answer and having you accept that answer blindly. I think it is well worthwhile to make sure that you're getting the proper answer. And one way to do that, where you can check it on your own, is just have fewer trials run. If we only have a few trials, we could double check and see if the average is being calculated properly. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and hit, let me print average. So average, there we go. And you know what? I'll print above that the word average so that I know what I'm looking at. And I'll put equals. And I think I'm going to go ahead and hit run and see how this goes. So print, run again. So it looks like it's doing 10 trials. I can actually visually see it. And then the average, I don't know whether that's right or not. The only way to really check the average is to add up all these numbers. And I could do that by copying them and pasting them into a Google Sheet. That'd be one way. Actually, that's a really cool way. Let's see what happens here. I'm going to go to get a Google Sheet. And I'm going to see if I can just paste that information here. Oops, of course. It's not going to let me so easily. Dang it. I thought I could do this. Let me pause and see if I can figure. Okay, I figured out I just didn't copy. So I'm going to try this again. I'm going to highlight these numbers. I'm going to go ahead and use the right mouse button and say copy. And then I'm going to go to my spreadsheet and then paste. And then I'm going to calculate the average. Equals average. And why am I going to all this effort? Because what is the point of doing all this work to make a really cool program if it doesn't work properly? You know, I don't want to see you look bad in front of your boss. I want you to have good habits, and one of them is test your code to see if it's working properly. We got an average of 7.6. I'm a little worried here because that is not the number that we're supposed to get. Good thing I checked. Let me see if I can do a couple of tweaks and then I'll let you in on it. All right, I figured out the problem. And it's really simple to fix. And again, I am hoping that I am demonstrating to you the idea that thinking about what your code is supposed to do is really important. Don't just write and hit run. Write, run, write, run, write, run. Taking some time to think about it is worthwhile. What I remember is when we set max trials, we set it to 11, but we only ran 10 trials because of the way the for command works. And by the way, for any of you that are wondering, why does it when we say 1,11, why do we only get 10 times looping? Well, that's just the way the Python designed the for command, and I'm not sure why that is. Anyways, when we use max trials and we try to divide to get the average, we're dividing by 11 trials even though we only took 10 trials. So to make this work, I'm going to put parentheses around the max trials right there, and then I'm going to say -1. And that will give me a more accurate result. So I'm going to go ahead and clear my console, and I'm going to go ahead and hit run. And now I've got 5.6. Let me go ahead and copy this over. Control C. Actually, you know what? I might need to do the right mouse button to make that work. So I'm going to right mouse and then copy. And then, by the way, for you guys on your Chromebooks, and if you're using a trackpad and you don't have a mouse, you'll highlight all these numbers, and then you'll use 2 fingers to tap the trackpad, and that should get you a menu that looks like this, and then you can choose copy. Then we'll go to the spreadsheet, and I'll paste, and then I'll check out the average, equals average. And then I'll check this out. And it should be, that number should match 5.6. Yay, the code works. Okay, now that that's all done, I no longer need to see all of these counts. So I'm going to get rid of that command, no more print command. By the way, the reason why I use the hashtag is in case I feel like I need something back again later, I don't have to remember what it was or retype it. I just get rid of the hashtag. Okay, now the other thing, so I'm going to go ahead and hit run, and it is now doing 10 trials of the Cereal Box Sports Card Simulation, and it turned out I needed to buy 6.1 boxes out of those 10 trials in order to get a complete set. I'm going to hit run again. Now 6.6 boxes, hit run again, 9.9 boxes, hit run again, 5.4, hit run again, 7.4. I wonder if we're going to ever have to buy a lot of boxes. Let's see. Is it ever going to be a really large average? 10.5. I'm hitting run again and again and again. Okay, I don't see any really large numbers. But here's something else that's kind of interesting. I'd like to do a lot more than just 10 trials because if I was simply having you mere humans do this, I would be waiting way too long, and you'd probably make a lot of mistakes along the way. But now that I got the code to work properly for these 10 trials, I believe it'll work properly for 100 or 1,000 trials, and it ain't going to make any mistakes like you would. So I'm going to change that 11 to 101. And then I'm going to go ahead and hit run. And what this should do is it should do 100 trials of the cereal box simulation and then get me the average number of boxes that needed to be purchased. So here I go, run. So let me go ahead and run that a few times. And you'll notice after doing 100 simulations, the range of results I'm getting for the average number of boxes, it's not quite as large. I'm no longer seeing 9s and 10s, okay? Don't know for sure if that's a coincidence. I'll try. Oh, by the way, another thing I'd like you to notice is when I press run, immediately I get the result for 100 simulations. That's pretty dang cool. I'm sorry, 100 trials. 100 trials. That's pretty cool. Let's try 1,001. We'll do 1,000 simulations. Here we go. I'm going to go ahead and hit run. 3, 2, 1, go. That's pretty quick. I'm going to hit run again and again and again. And now what I'm expecting is slowly, now when I hit run, now we're getting much less variation in our results, okay? Now I'm not even seeing anything below 6 or above or above 6, okay? It's just in the range between 6 and 7. So the idea that I'm getting is by running so many trials, now I'm getting closer and closer to the true absolute answer of how many cereal boxes I need to get a complete set on average. So that's working pretty well. I just want to try a couple more just to see how far I can go with this. What if I try 10,000? So I'll add another 0 and then put a 1. This will be 10,000 trials. I'm going to hit the run button. 3, 2, 1, go. That's pretty quick. It took about a second to do 10,000 trials. That's pretty amazing. I'm going to hit run again. And now you can see, not only are we getting less variation, but we're not even getting close to 6 or 7. We're really in the 6.5, 6.6, 6.7 ballpark. And the reason why is because we're slowly closing in on the actual answer that we could get if we did the math theoretically. Okay, I don't want to take any more time for you. I just wanted you guys to experience this simulation to its fullest. I hope that you got something out of it.